Today I'm joined by Damian Weinzierl, the head of new mobility at FUCHS SE, to discuss the unique lubrication solutions driving advancements in electric and hybrid vehicles. Listen in to learn how technical fluids are evolving alongside next-generation mobility and what it takes to keep EVs running efficiently and sustainably. Hi Damian, can you describe what the mobility transformation towards new mobility means for a leading lubrication company like FUCHS?
Thanks so much for the question, and hello again from my side. Thanks for having me also. It's a really important question that we discuss here. So basically, FUCHS is close to turning 100 years old, and FUCHS has built a really strong legacy in the mobility lubrication of all types of vehicles. Very importantly, we often think mainly of passenger cars or trucks. But basically, any vehicle from a small electric scooter to a big mining truck, a ship, anything that flies in the air is subject to the mobility transformation that is currently going. And that also pays into the fact that I think it's one of the most interesting times to work in this field. And basically for us, of course, we have certain products that will be used less. And that is a transmission fluid, that is engine oil. We need to be actively looking for alternatives. And the positive news, basically, we still have fluids in the electric powertrain, or of course also in the other forms of new mobility. That is, of course, all forms of hybrid propulsions. That is hydrogen, which we consider rather for bigger vehicles like trucks. But then we also have fuel cell applications, for example, for last mile or smaller truck applications. And all these different forms of propulsion, of course, require special fluids for their powertrains. And then in addition, we have the big field of thermal management that refers, of course, to the traction battery of any electrically powered vehicle. And in addition, we have other trends that go kind of in hand with electrification. That is, for example, connectivity, or also all forms of autonomous driving that require a lot of data transfer, computer power, and also just heat that needs to be reliably dissipated over lifetime.
Speaking of electric, what are the main lubrication needs for electric and hybrid vehicles compared to vehicles with internal combustion engines?
So basically, the differences, especially from combustion engines to hybrid vehicles, are not that big, because basically we still have a combustion engine running. We just have another battery aside that enhances our range, and especially for use in urban areas or in low-speed applications, can then propel the vehicle in an electric manner. Of course, if we come to a battery electric vehicle, that changes drastically because we do not have a combustion-powered powertrain anymore. We have all the energy coming from a traction battery, and that, of course, leads to the fact I already mentioned before, that thermal management plays a very big role. So while we still have an electric driveline fluid or a dedicated hybrid transmission fluid for the two different applications, as soon as the battery is involved, we have a lot of topics that make sure that heat, wherever it is produced, gets dissipated reliably. And that can be either with all forms of thermal fluids being used in the battery, also to cool the powertrain. That also happens with thermal interface materials that can be used in the battery, but also in all types of parts of the onboard electronics of a vehicle, sensors, steering units, power units, anything where heat is produced. Then we have the big field of e-mobility greases that extend component lifetime, reduce energy demand, and enable higher power densities. And of course, we have the before mentioned electric driveline fluids that are kind of a combination of the engine oil and the transmission fluid we're using in combustion engines, because they don't only lubricate, they also have cooling properties. They help to save energy, and especially important for electric drivetrains, they help to protect copper and seals.
Thank you, Damian. It's interesting to hear how minimal the difference is when it comes to combustion engines and hybrid vehicles, as well as the important role that thermal management plays for battery electric vehicles. Which technical challenges do you face when developing fluids for new mobility applications?
Basically, the challenges are not less than before. That is also kind of the problem of our business field. New mobility practically involves a lot of demand for research and development, also for product management, because we have a set of challenges that we need to work with. So basically, an electric powertrain has quite high power and high torque. In the same sense, also high speed and a compact design compared to also a normal combustion engine powertrain. We then also at the same time need a very high energy efficiency because we obviously want to use the energy as efficiently as possible and get the vehicle to the highest range possible. Especially an electric vehicle is very silent. We need to pay a lot of attention to the field of NVH, that stands for noise, vibration, and harshness. So basically make sure the customer doesn't hear anything that clicks or moves or rolls in the vehicle. That all has to be as silent as possible. Then, of course, we need to have high durability of all parts. The speed ceiling performance needs to be very high. Corrosion protection is a big topic in an electric powertrain where, of course, copper is of big use. And we also need to make sure that other topics like the low foam characteristic are also taken care of.
It sounds like FUCHS has extensive experience navigating the demands of R&D and product management for new mobility. I'm curious, how does FUCHS Blue EV support integrated lubrication and cooling in EVs?
So basically, FluEV is our product line developed especially for all these applications that we're talking about today. It is really important for us to not only talk about these topics, but actually provide our customers with a dedicated product line that has all these capabilities included. So basically, FUCHS Blue EV is special because it offers all the capabilities that we were talking about a second ago. So thermal management, as I said, lubrication, of course. Then the question of coatings and protection of coatings is very important as well in electric mobility. And of course, all the special products, greases and so on. So our portfolio already has around close to 70 entries, and we're quite happy about this set of products here. And basically, as I said, for example, if we look at an electric driveline fluid, like the new engine oil of an electric powertrain, that is a product that doesn't only lubricate the engine or the electric motor, but it also makes sure that the engine is cooled adequately. And that is a perfect example of why and how we support this integrated lubrication and cooling, because that is a special requirement of electric mobility.
Nearly 70 entries is an impressive portfolio. How is FUCHS making lubricants more sustainable for new mobility?
We are convinced that while we are a company that is working with oil as its base product, we still have a very important role to play in the field of sustainability for mobilities, because we know that our customers build great vehicles of all sizes. Again, as I said earlier, it could be a scooter, it could be a passenger car, long-haul truck, or a mining vehicle, or an excavator, or whatever. In the end, we make sure that by means of the perfect setup regarding lubrication, cooling, specialties, and so on, the vehicle performs at 100% of its capabilities. And that means it works as efficiently as possible. We reduce the noise as much as possible. And most importantly, it achieves the highest range it is made for. And that is why a lubricant is so important. That is like the basic functionality. And then again, of course, we also cover topics like safety, fire prevention, and so on. And of course, all these products, all these lubricants are part of our 360-degree approach on the road to circular economy and net zero, which is basically mainly about reusing the products, recycling them, and making sure that we develop our products as far as possible, maybe with different base oils or different base fluids, and also try to work as sustainably as possible.
To close out today's discussion, I'm wondering if you can share an example of a custom solution developed with OEM partners.
So I know this is always the most important question. Can you share detailed infos about applications at your customers? Well, we're, as I said, a German company, close to 100 years old soon. So we, of course, cannot name names of our partners, but we can share with pride that we are developing really good solutions. For example, for trucks, we are leading the development with one of our main customers in Germany for an electric on-highway truck, where we support the traction motor cooling with one of our thermal fluids, which is a really cool topic, and whereby we can actively shape the development of logistics in the field of on-highway trucks. This is one example, and another one that we're quite happy with is, of course, that many customers out there from all parts of the world rely on us, especially when passenger cars, where we work a lot on the lubrication of the e-axle and the cooling, and really have a broad variability of electric driveline fluids in our portfolio, which are usable for all types of customers from many parts of the world who look for really good, to-the-point lubrication solutions for both the e-axle lubrication, but also the cooling. And that's something, I think, two very basic examples, very straightforward, that really illustrate how important it is to have a good lubricant partner at your side for all these new technologies.
Thank you, Damian, for sharing your insights and expertise on lubrication requirements for new mobility applications. To learn more and explore how FUCHS can support your facility, visit www.fuchs.com or connect with our team of experts for personalized guidance.